Okay, this will be chapter 2 of the uncommon gift that I promised the other day. So, Mr. Miller arrived at the Mason home at 6:45 p.m. on Thursday, driving his older 500S Mercedes, and parks on the curb. He gets out and reaches into the back seat and retrieves a small black case that holds a brand new E11 Buffet crampon B-flat clarinet. Inside, the case is lined with dark maroon velvet and comes with all the accessories. Mr. Miller had the university student pick out a high-quality Van Toren M13 Lyre mouthpiece, it's a model 4158, with an assortment of Van Doren 2, 2.5, and number 3 reeds for Bobby to try out. It would be enough to get him started. He walked up the front cement walk and up the 4 steps and rang the doorbell. Someone was peeking through the curtain on the left side glass by the door. It was Bobby, and he quickly opens the door and welcomed Mr. Miller into the house. Bobby introduced Charles Miller to his parents, Bill and Mary Mason, and they all took a seat in the living room that had 2 facing sofas with the fireplace centered to the left and right of them. Charles and Bill shook hands before being seated. "I know this may seem a little odd to you folks," began Charles, "but I assure you that this is a small way of my giving back for what someone did for me well over 50 years ago," he added. "There was an older gentleman next door to me who paid me $2.50 a week to cut his large yard, and it took me almost 2 hours each time, but I was grateful for the money. My father died when I was 7 and money in our home was tight. So I cut the grass, shoveled snow, delivered newspapers for spending money, all of which was good for me. Mr. Costello was his name, and I never forgot his kindness to me." "Certainly not much money by today's standards, was it?" stated Bill. "But I'm guessing it was good money back then." "Yes, it was," added Charles. "My grandfather provided the gas for our lawnmower, so I didn't have to pay for it. But it was only 29 cents a gallon, so cheap enough, I guess, compared to what we're paying for today for gas. It was good to have to work for what I wanted and needed for spending money. The way things are today for young people, most adults are doing the grass cutting on big expensive mowers, and not much of an opportunity for kids to earn money today." "That's true," said Bill. "Bobby does ours and does some chores around the house to help Mary, and he does cut our elderly neighbor's grass, but we don't charge them, and they have lived in their house for over 50 years and don't seem very wealthy, so we're glad to do it, as is Bobby." "Yes, Mr. Miller, I don't mind doing it for the Gustafsons at all, next door to us. They are very nice people, and Mrs. Gustafson bakes some very nice chocolate chip cookies for me every time, which is nice of her." "Well, good for you, Bobby," stated Mr. Miller. He hands the clarinet case to Bobby and he opens it up. "Oh, Mr. Miller," exclaimed Bobby, "this is the most beautiful clarinet I've ever seen. I've never seen one this nice before. Your new teacher, Mark Malone, at the university helped me pick it out today," said Charles. "He recommended a new mouthpiece to make it easier for you to blow, and we put in 3 different reeds for you to try, and you can see which one works best for you." "Oh, thank you, Mr. Miller," beamed Bobby. "This is most kind of you," said Mary. "What made you pick Bobby to do this for him?" she asked. "Well, Mr. Costello, my neighbor, did nice things for me with the work, and then he bought me an expensive Wilson A2000 baseball glove as he knew I loved baseball. It was $49.50 back then, which was a lot of money. I could not afford it, but he easily could. I still have that glove on my office wall today." There it is over there. "So now it is my turn. He also bought me a nice plastic Selmer clarinet when I was in grade school so I could play in the band. So now it's my turn. I should have kept playing the clarinet and forgotten about baseball as I was never going to be a major league player, but if I had kept it up, I might have been a very good musician, maybe even played in our town symphony, if I had kept working at it and had quit playing baseball, that is." You could easily sense that Mr. Miller said that with great regret, like it was an opportunity lost, but it was too long ago to fret much about it now. So Mr. Miller continued, "I want to help Bobby see if he can fulfill his dream he started a few years back when he was playing, and not get sidetracked with skateboarding or some sport that will not end up meaning much when he is 30 or older, like I did. Those things are fine when one is young, but music is something that can last a lifetime, and playing well into one's 70s if they work at it. And that is my hope for Bobby, that he gives it a go and will see what comes of it," said Charles, with a big smile towards Bobby. "Maybe even the symphony." "Well, I will sure try," said Bobby. "When do I start my lessons at the university?" "Mark Malone said he can start with you tomorrow, Friday, at 4 p.m. at Buford Hall on the campus. You can meet him there on the 3rd floor, room 305. He would like for your lessons to be on Monday and Fridays at 4 p.m. He wants you to practice over the weekend, and he will see how much progress you have made. You can practice on Tuesdays to Thursdays, and then have another lesson on Friday, if that's okay with you and your parents," asked Charles. "Yes, sir, it is," said Bobby right away. "I can't wait to get started." "Mom and Dad, will that work out for you as well?" asked Charles. "I don't see why not," said Bill. "Bobby, will you need a ride, or is it close enough you can ride your skateboard over?" asked Dad. "My skateboard will be fine," said Bobby, "as long as it's not raining." "Your first lesson will be to make sure you choose the right number reed, and if the mouthpiece will work for you," said Charles. "Most likely a reed from 2 to 3 will work, but there are so many mouthpieces to choose from. The one that came with the buffet clarinet may work, but if you need a different one, Mark will take you down to the music store where you can try out some others and see if one of those suits you better," added Charles. "Good luck to you, and I'll check in from time to time and see how things are going," added Charles. With that, Charles rose from the sofa and headed to the door. The family followed him there. Charles turned to shake Bill's hand and told Bobby to work hard, and hoped he enjoyed getting reacquainted with the instrument. Bobby said he could hardly wait, as tomorrow was Friday, and he couldn't wait to get started. The family said goodbye to Charles as he headed down the sidewalk to his car, and they thanked him again. He waved back as he turned walking around the rear of his Mercedes and got inside and drove off. Bill closed the door and asked Bobby to show him the clarinet Charles had bought for him. Bobby opened the case again and pulled out the bell of the clarinet, and was very surprised to see the buffet stencil on the bell. "Bobby," he said excitedly, "this is not just some clarinet," he stated. "This is well worth over $1,000. This is some gift to you, son. Make sure you practice hard, will you?" "Yes, Dad, I will," said Bobby. "I will take this most seriously." With that, Bobby put the bell back in the case and bounded up the stairs to his bedroom. He could hardly wait for tomorrow to come. He remembered how to put the clarinet together and put a slight amount of cork grease on the connecting pieces and put it all together. It was the most beautiful instrument he had ever seen, and could not believe his good fortune on meeting a total stranger in the park that would be so kind. He knew he had to make this right. He could not wait to head out to Cornwall University tomorrow. Well, that's the end of Chapter 2, and I'll go ahead and upload this one, and I'm going to go ahead and try to read 3 and 4 together today and let you follow along there. I hope you've enjoyed it.